Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I am Coach Mo. I am so honored that you have stopped in and joined me on today's message, on today's word. Today is March the 6th, 2025. And if you have been following me any amount of time, you know that we are doing a deep dive in the book of Nehemiah for the month of March. Today, again, is March 6th, 2025. And I just have to have a transparent moment with you on today. A few weeks ago, I was in prayer with the Lord about where we are going as a body of believers and where is the church headed? Where are we going? What are our next steps? How do we move forward in you? And this was my question while in prayer to God, and God gave me Nehemiah. He gave it to me so strongly. And through that course of praying and through that course of seeking God's face, I said, God, what is it that you want us to know about Nehemiah? Because I have studied Nehemiah over the many, many years. And I believe that God is really taking us, giving us a deeper perspective about the life of Nehemiah, so that we begin to understand what it's like to serve Him, so that we begin to understand what is it like to be in leadership in the face of adversity. Now, being a leader of anything is already difficult enough. There are so many challenges that comes when we are called to leadership. But being over a group of people and the people are already in survivor mode, and the people are already hurt. Many of the people that Nehemiah was called to had already lost their lives or lost the members of their family. Many of the people were in disarray and really needing some intervention and safety. If you go back and read the book of Nehemiah, Nehemiah was in a very sensitive position to go back to Jerusalem and rebuild the walls. So being a leader is one thing, right? But being a leader over people who were already suffering, who were already in trouble, who were already distraught, that changes the whole outlook on leadership. See, that requires much more than your average leader. And I believe that God sent us and assigned us to take a look at Nehemiah based on what we are experiencing today in our world, and in our culture, in our climate, in our country. That based on what we see today and what the church is experiencing today, I believe that God has assigned us to take a look at Nehemiah so that we can begin to see what God did for Nehemiah in the city of Jerusalem. God will do that and much more for us in 2025. I believe that with us taking a look at Nehemiah, we are able to see that there is a process in place. When God has called you to lead, when God has called you to serve others, I believe us taking a look at Nehemiah, we can see how God blessed Nehemiah, how God blessed the city of Jerusalem, how God was there and answered every need and every desire that Nehemiah had. I believe that us looking at Nehemiah, we can then in turn put ourselves in the shoes of Nehemiah and see what God did for Nehemiah. God will do the same and more for us. So as we move through the year 2025, as we move over the next few years, I believe that God wants us to take a look at servant leadership, and that in the face of adversity, God can and God will take care of. God can, God will provide. Oh, God can and God will protect. So as we go through the book of Nehemiah, I want you to see yourself in Nehemiah's shoes. And I want you to now more than ever before believe God. Come on, somebody. I want you to put all of your faith, all of your trust in God, not man. Because what we will see God do, man can't. Come on, somebody. What we will see God do, man cannot. Come on. What we will see the mighty hand of God at action, in action, and at work. God is performing miracles right now before our very eyes. This is what I do declare, and I do speak that over the month of March, we will see the mighty hand of God at work. Just like we are studying the book of Nehemiah. There were so many miracles that God performed before Nehemiah could get back to Jerusalem. Just making sure that Nehemiah had everything he needed for the journey. Just giving Nehemiah the favor. The king gave Nehemiah favor. Just seeing that aspect alone. Just seeing how the process was already set up for Nehemiah to win, for the city and for the walls of Jerusalem to be rebuilt. That it was already done. All Nehemiah had to do was just walk in it. Come on, somebody. Who am I talking to? So that's the message for today on day 6, March 6, 2025. That's the message for you today. Walk in your divine assignment. Walk in your divine appointment. God has already provided. God has already given you the provision for the vision. God has already given you everybody and everything that you will need in order to get the job done. Be encouraged today. On day 6, as we continue to go forward together, as we continue to go forward and study the book of Nehemiah, by now you should be in Nehemiah chapter 1 and Nehemiah chapter 2. Until I see you again on next time, be encouraged.